that
looks
one.
like it's gonna be interesting.
So do they kind of make decisions right now today, or is it more to hear the public and everybody's input? It'll be made today on each one of
So
those cases.
there's some of them, and then there's some, so what you do, so like these, you just set these up, you make a motion to set them up to be heard
Okay.
next time. But these here, we'll hear today, we'll make a decision to approve it, whether to send it
So
to the board.
each one of these,
Yeah.
Okay.
So these, so we'll do these today.
these three.
We'll make a decision on these.
Oh, okay.
And then these we'll set up
For discussion.
for next month.
Gotcha.
So next month it looks like it's gonna be
Pretty busy as well. So do we kind of get together in the off time and beat these up, or is it all just self-driven opinion kind of?
kinda.
Okay.
Yeah. Discuss up here. You know, and to me what people don't understand. They just come up.
Yeah.
I would rather plan for it, because it's gonna come.
Well, you don't end up with all these little coyote subdivisions like you got in Ray Lane and everywhere else. Yeah.
The growth is gonna come, no matter what. What they're gonna do, businesses that are coming.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, Safford's gonna double.
right.
Whether it's 5 years or 10 years, it's gonna
It's
double.
gonna double.
Yeah. You know, we're already so far behind the curve. Let's try to straighten that curve out a little bit while we can.
Big apartments coming. They gotta go somewhere.
People
You know,
got
and that's what we need. Condos, we need apartments, we need.
affordable living. You know, living now. One person working at the mine down nowadays can't even afford to live. It takes two spouses to live unless you're in business for yourself and a little bit ahead, you know.
But even then, I can't live. You know, yeah, it's better right now. Years ago, getting it down.
Yeah, so true.
There's a whole
Yeah, ours just went up to $1,600 a month, and they found a tumor in my neck 3 years ago, and they kept saying they pulled it out of there. And pathology report come back and said it was squamous cell carcinoma, and every year my insurance going up about $500. It's $1,600 a month now, and with a $10,000 deductible. So what do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to have
You
it.
gotta have it. Yeah, so.
All right.
So most of these people that come, are they kind of tied to one of these properties in one way or another, or is it
So
just?
most of it's, like if you look, they have to be within 300 radius.
Oh, to come voice their opinion? Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Morning.
They made
What are you doing, buddy?
What are you guys doing?
It's happening.
You interested in some work at the hospital?
How are you, Senor Jason? What's your name?
Al Summers.
It's a
Al,
small
nice to meet you,
addition,
Al.
about
Meet you,
7,000
Jason.
square
What?
feet.
Stearns.
That's a smaller business.
For
Stearns
that,
with
the
an
building's
S.
40,000.
Yeah.
And the new one's 40,000.
Good to meet you.
Likewise.
I'll send you a package.
How soon is it?
I don't know, the guy called, he's desperate, and I said, well, I'll send a few guys over to you and just do stuff.
And that's a nice looking city in
It's
South.
like, well, everybody's freaking busy.
Working.
I'll look at it.
I'll send it to two. Good. How are you doing? God, I got demoted. I must have made her mad this week
You
or
made
something.
him mad, so you have to sit by me. Guy on the end.
I have to recuse myself twice. I have to recuse myself twice.
Oh, it's gonna be,
Well, because we're going back to stuff in Solomon. I got family there.
oh,
That's my property up there, so.
You building this building over by Home Depot?
No, that's old.
What is that? Building
It's handled. Dermatology.
Oh, dermatology center, okay.
345. Yeah, there's, because another was on the parcel just to the left of it now. And the parcel they're talking about is.
Did he still
2 1/8
doing business
parcels
for a
of
little
village,
while?
He did.
Didn't
He
come
worked in
back?
the mine.
but now they want to do this, so.
Yeah.
So I got the one to the left where it's clear, and then
Yeah.
just cat
out.
to the left. That's all mine right there.
You also.
Good morning.
Good morning.
good morning.
But Judy was coming.
Yeah,
Alvin?
that'll do you in.
Good morning.
That'll do you
So he
in.
took, he
Ones are for
his
904. You want to speak? These ones are 907.
That's real big right there, and I don't see a 904 on this.
It's right there.
kind of got more.
Okay.
Actual.
Well, when they tell you.
Sure.
Residential stuff.
It can be mundane, man.
Good morning.
It can be
How you doing?
mundane.
A little better.
Yeah, it's the affordability. Now that interest rates are double, your buying power disappears, you know?
Good morning. I'd like to welcome all of you to our Graham County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting today. Thank you all of you for being here. Call this meeting to order, and we do have a quorum. Would like to recognize Jason Stearns, our newly appointed zoning commissioner. Wave your hand, thank you. All right. So, Commission, have you had a chance to review the minutes, and we're at item 3 here. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Okay, moving on to public hearings. Is there any unfinished business, Steve? Okay, then we'll move on to new business. Item number 4, hearing for REZ 904-24, APN 107-15-075, 2.3 acres. A request was made to rezone from RSB to RM. The requester is Philip Palmer. Mr. Palmer wishes to be able to build multifamily buildings on the property. Site address is west of Safford Landfill Road, northeast from Branding Iron Lane.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to recuse myself from this, as I am a property owner in the area.
Okay? Yes. Thank you. Okay, Steve?
I think better than hearing from me, we'd rather hear from Philip Palmer. He's here, and let's hear what he's got to say. Come on up.
I don't have much to say, quite frankly. If it doesn't go through, I'll just be mad I lost my $250, but besides that, I don't really care. My intent is that I would like to build maybe a duplex up there. Also, me and a friend have talked about building a bigger home that could be used for not assisted living, but the people that are getting a group home, I think is what they call it. But then if and when you quit doing that, it could be just turned right back into a 4-bedroom home for residential or whatever. So, but to do that, we would have to have this zoning. So 100% sure that's where we're going, but that would give me more options of some things I could do up there. So that's really about all I got, unless people have questions for me. Please go ahead.
So we have I have a list of 5 individuals that have requested to speak to this issue. So if you would, I'll just call your name, and if you'll have a seat for a few moments, and they'll kind of state their thoughts, and then you can have some response. Okay, Brian Brewer. Kind of 2 or 3 minutes. Yes.
I wrote this down. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Brewer. I live by the Branding Iron. Let me get started. As a resident of the sparsely populated community, I have significant concerns about the impact development will have on our community, this development. My primary issue I wish to address include impact on rural character. Our area is characterized by its open spaces, low-density development, which is a key reason many of us chose to live here. The introduction of multifamily residences would fundamentally alter the character of our neighborhood, leading to increased density and departure from the rural charm that defines our community. Infrastructure strain. Our existing infrastructure, including roads, public services, is designed to support lower density population. The proposed development would likely place additional strain on these resources, leading to the rutting of our single access dirt road, longer emergency response times, and deterioration of the quality of services. Increased traffic on Branding Iron Lane would pose significant safety risks for children and pedestrians. Our infrastructure in the area is not designed to handle the additional traffic that this proposed change would bring. Property value implications. The introduction of high-density housing in a predominantly rural setting could affect property values, not only for my property, but the others in the area. Many residents chose to live in this location specifically for its current low-density nature, and the proposed development could diminish the appeal of our sparse neighborhood. Community integration. Our rural area has a close-knit community with a strong sense of local identity. This development of multifamily residences may introduce population that is less integrated with our community, potentially leading to social and cultural shifts that are not aligned with the values of our current residents. I respectfully urge you to reconsider the development and take into account the potential negative effects that it may have on our rural community. I believe that maintaining the current zoning and land use plans will best serve the interest of the residents and preserve the unique character of our community. Thank you.
Robin Cantrell.
I own the Branding Iron, and that road going up there is not capable of handling that. It's not good as it is. The water is another issue. Where are you going to get water? Because we can't tape any more on to the line that we have. So I'm assuming you're coming from the dump site? No, but I'm just giving you what I want to know. We don't need the animals, we don't need the kids, we don't need the more traffic up there. Is it going to be a low-income apartment complex, high-end complex? Those are the questions that I have for it.
Thank you. Stephanie Brewer.
So obviously I live with Brian Brewer, same house. Some of our concerns he's already addressed, but what would stop you from changing it from, like you said, like a 4-bedroom house or a duplex, and now that it's changed to multifamily, changing what you're going to do? So if we approve it, what would stop you from putting like a big apartment complex there or something? Because then that would definitely change things if it was a duplex versus an actual apartment complex. That's one of my concerns.
Felicity Mayhew? No? Okay. Palmer?
Thank you guys for bringing up all those thoughts. I'll try to hit on as many of them as I can. Like I say, at the end of the day, I don't know that I care if this goes through anyway, but just so, let me start with some of the things you talked about. Water, we already have meters there, and we've already had engineers come and already done studies, and we literally have the meters in place already. We're already paying for them, we already paid for them. So the engineers already did this stuff, and planning and zoning or anyone else who wants to talk about it can help you tell. But we technically, and I could be wrong, but I could go build a 5-6 bedroom home on both those parcels right now and have people like my family that has 10 kids move in with 8 drivers and this and that. So a lot of the concerns you're bringing up would mean no difference with the zoning change, in my opinion. I do like your thing about how do we know you're not gonna change that and do a 8-plex or whatever. I don't even know all the rules, but I do know there's some variance in there of what you can do and can't do. And I hate that. I wish I could promise you or even sign something that we'll never build anything bigger than a duplex, and I'd be happy to do that. I just don't think that's it. You either have this zone or you have that zone. So I'm sure that doesn't appease your concern, but I've been on your side of the fence saying the same thing. I wish they could just say you only get to do this and not everything, but I don't think that's how that works. That is our intent, though, is at biggest would be a duplex. It would not be low income. It would be, my opinion, would be a very nice duplex that would be probably 3 bedroom, if not 4 on each side, that would bring in plenty of good people. I don't think, like I say, that I could build anything. I don't think I will build anything that would do worse than putting a big, huge 4-bedroom home and letting a big, huge family build it, as far as the roads, the water, the traffic, everything else that was talked about. So I'm not sure that changing the zoning, I get it could if I changed my mind and wanted to put a 4 or 8 or something, if I could even do something that big, but that's not my intent whatsoever. Like I say, I wish I could just rezone to a duplex, but I don't think that's it. It's either multifamily or not. So I think I hit on most everything. Water, high income, changing it. Yeah, I mean, I think the county allows us to go in and build a home and even put a mother-in-law's quarters in it, which essentially would let a whole nother family in there. So I just feel like every concern being brought up, I could do just as much damage, if you want to call it that, which I don't plan on doing damage, but with the way it's zoned currently. So I don't know if anyone else has questions, or Steve.
Steve, I did forget to ask, was there anybody else that wanted to speak that had a late request? Okay, so come up, state your name. Let's go ahead and get the rest of the public.
Come on, Mr. Miller, let's do it.
State your name and address, and then somebody over here as well. Yes, Nick.
And then I got a couple comments on his answers.
Okay.
Hey, my name is Steve Miller. I live in the neighborhood on Branding Iron Lane. One of the reasons that I built my home there was, as Brian had mentioned, is the rural living. I would like to see the zoning stay the same for the single-family homes. I don't really want to have renters, have it a rental community. I appreciate the ownership and the sense of community that comes with a neighborhood of homeowners. Also, concerns about the road, the infrastructure, stuff like that is also a concern. The road is barely adequate as it is. And I understand that there could be other people move in with a lot of kids and everything, but as far as renters and basically kind of a transient population, I think would be a detriment to the community that we have up there right now. That's all I have.
My name is Michael Reese. I'm a homeowner at 1390 West Sirloin Drive up in the same property area. Rather than bore everybody with the same comments that my neighbors have said, I just wanted to say that my remarks are based on being a property owner and not as a commissioner, and I fully support what they're bringing to the committee today. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was it, Steve.
I just wanted to comment on the water situation. He does already have meters, and the city of Safford that's something we can't deal with here. I know that they pulled a fire hydrant out up there that I think satisfied the need for homes, but it may not have satisfied the need for fire flow, so I don't know how that affects everybody up there, and that makes me sad from one of my other jobs, but it doesn't from this one. The other thing is on the zoning for multifamily, the only way to limit this to a duplex or to any specific thing would be by recording a deed restriction on the property, and then I mean, he could do that and you'd know what he could and couldn't do, but the zoning itself would allow for a 6-plex or an 8-plex, or it's actually only limited by, it's limited to 3 floors, which could be 40-something feet tall, and it's limited by what it can be served by septic. That's all the limitations there are within the ordinance, so.
So that was a question, does this zoning allow it to blow up a lot bigger than?
It does, it does. This is the same zoning. If there were sewer available there, this zoning would cover the building of a hotel, so.
So is he fairly correct in, if he went with the zoning that's there, building a couple of large homes and getting about as many, potentially?
Yeah, he's on 2+ acres, I think, 2 1/3 acres on that lot that's highlighted there. That's big enough for 5 septic systems, so yeah, he could build a really huge house there and be fine. If you guys have any more questions for me, I'll be glad to. Jason?
How far away is the closest sewer?
There is no sewer on that side of the river.
So there's no
It's
proposal
not-
going forward that
it's not
we could
good.
ever build a hotel or ever go to a very high limit anyhow.
It's not gonna happen in our lifetime,
So what he's proposing is pretty much what would be built.
correct?
I really have sat on your side of the fence, and I don't like the zoning when it goes from single family to whatever, so if I could sign a deed restriction that said I was only gonna do a duplex at the largest, I'd be happy to.
Commission have any other questions?
Well, I know that this area is growing and there's not a whole lot of places for people to live. I live out in Pima, and that's why I live out there, is I don't like to have so many people around me. I do have people that are starting to move in. When I moved out there, there was no one there. Pima has shot up immensely with new houses, new homes, new duplexes. I don't know what the resolve would be on this, other than this area is growing. The traffic is bad. The population has just exploded. I don't know where else people are going to live other than a trailer park or a mobile home. It would be better to have a duplex there or a large home rather than nothing at all. I don't know what the, I feel the same way. Water, having more people would help businesses in this area. So to have more people going to a restaurant and to places I would think benefit the financial aspect of Safford growing.
Anybody else?
I do. Every time anything has come up before us with involving the branding iron, they've talked about the roads. That when it rains, you can't hardly get up. Is that still? I mean, especially up to the restaurant itself.
I know the road has had some improvements in the last couple of years, but I think it's still a problem.
It's still an issue.
That's the only way to get up in there, right?
So there's not a restriction on that if they build more homes up there, but it has to be improved.
There's not a way to enforce that. State law says that they must have a 24-foot minimum easement, and it must be traversable in a two-wheel drive vehicle, and that's the maximum standard that we can enforce.
And it doesn't matter if they build how many houses up there on.
No.
That road is right to the point.
And that's up to you as neighbors to get together and the paved part is, the rest of it is not. The paved part is not what you're talking about. You're talking about the dirt part, right? Yeah, that's outside the government realm there.
I understand you guys have other things to talk about. Again, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm trying to put myself in your guys' shoes. I live out across the river. I have room around me. Everything you're saying is the same concerns I live with, and I totally get it. I really do. I just want to, just thinking the other side though, there's just everything that's being brought up, roads, water, everything is going to be the exact same problem if I go build some big houses and turn them into rentals tomorrow anyway. Like I say, I'd be happy to sign a deed restriction. It's only going to be a duplex. That if we do that group home, those people don't even drive, so you're going to have an ambulance go up every once in a while or this or that, but you're not going to have a lot of traffic. You're not going to be a good place for some old people to get to walk around and whatever. So I don't know. I'm really trying to think like you guys are thinking, and I just don't see the difference. Or even if I sell the land and the next guy builds a huge house or pulls a bunch of junk up there. So I guess my commitment or promise is I'd try to make it as nice, if we even do it, it would be to make it as nice as we could up there with understanding all your concerns, and be happy to sign that deed restriction, so.
Okay, looking for a motion. If you make a motion for a positive recommendation, also stipulate that the deed restriction will be worded to satisfy the concerns, if that's the route you go.
Well, I move to go ahead and move forward with it.
Favorable recommendation?
Favorable.
With the deed restriction.
With the deed restriction.
I'm looking for a second. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Please raise your hands so we can tell who went where.
Opposed? Raise your hands. Okay. Motion fails.
It will go to the board with a non-favorable recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 5, REZ 906-24, APN 109-41-020, 2.81 acres. A request was made to rezone from A to CG. The requesters are Jason and Stephanie Howard. The Howards like to come into compliance with how the property is being used, as the county has requested. Only 2.81 acres in the southwest corner will change zoning. Site address is west of Highway 70, south of Red Knolls Road, north of Klondike Road. This property is being used as an event venue. Steve.
Again, the applicants are here, and I'd rather hear from them than me. This is something that we ask of them just to get in compliance, and they'll assume Jason or Stephanie will come tell you what they're wanting to do.
I need to recluse from this one because I live in that area right there.
Thank you, so noted.
Yeah, so we've turned a couple old barns into a wedding venue. Not really, it's just an event venue. And I think the zoning was okay the way it was. The way I've looked it up with other event venues, the way they do it on farms, they keep it agricultural. But I'm doing this at the county's request. I think as far as it goes, the zoning is okay the way it is, but I guess the county sees otherwise. So, but if we need to change it, then let's change it. People that come to this venue, they want an experience they want to experience agriculture. Their roots are agriculture. It's actually there's a House Bill 2556 that says agricultural real property, agritourism is protected under agricultural real property. So everybody we get wants an agricultural ranch style experience, and that's what we have at this venue. So, but I'm willing to change it. I'm willing to change the zoning to get into compliance or whatever, but that's what we're doing, so.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody here opposing this item? No? Okay, anybody else in favor, wanted to speak? Okay, Steve?
Just a short explanation. We don't, we appreciate that it's kind of state agriculture, but the fact that it gets rented out for short periods of time on a every weekend basis makes it commercial and requires that we ask this of the Howards, so that's why we're doing it. We just like to get it in compliance, kind of like we did with the gravel pits here the last couple of months. There's 2 or 3 more of these coming. They're just behind the Howards. They're ahead of the game, and everybody else is behind the game. So hopefully you'll go along with it.
I make a motion, a favorable motion for it.
Is there any other discussion from the commission? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. That will go to the board next month with a favorable recommendation.
Okay. Item number 6, REZ 907-24, APN 107-55-007A, 30 acres. A request was made to rezone from A to SD. The requester is Joseph Kennedy, who has been given power of attorney from landowners Randolph Sanchez and Manuel John Bertolo. Mr. Kennedy wants to build an RV park and campground with tent spaces and cabin rentals. This property is located on the south side of US Highway 70, east of the San Jose Canal.
Let me just preface this a little bit with the reason Mr. Kennedy is able to come back after he got denied by the board the last go-around, which you guys gave a favorable recommendation to. I'm thinking, no? Unfavorable? Okay. It did get denied at the board level. Mr. Kennedy came in and he told me a little bit about what he was wanting to do with these site-built tiny homes and camping tents and stuff. And I said, well, that wouldn't have worked in the zoning you asked for anyway. And so when he moved from asking for RMH to asking for something that would allow all of those things, the only thing we have is special development in which you have to lay out what you're gonna do where and get that approved prior to starting. And so the fact that the ordinance says that you cannot come back and ask for the same thing you got denied for within a year, he is not asking for the same thing, although it's similar. It is not the same thing, and so it is allowed for him to come back and ask. If this gets denied again, he'll be a year before he could do so, unless he came up with some other way to go. But this better encompasses what he wishes to do, and with that, I'll let him come explain it to you.
Mr. Chair, just as last time we saw this come forward, I'm gonna have to recuse myself due to the fact I have family that have property in that area.
Okay.
Did you guys get the map?
In the electronic one, I believe we did. I saw some, were there old ones, were there new ones after the initial send-off, or those ones you referred to?
No, the ones Mr. Hart had.
Okay, I've seen those, yeah.
Do you have the schematic also? You have the electronic schematic, right?
I do.
Okay. All right, good morning. My name's Joseph Kennedy. I'm from Arizona. I'm from Wilcox originally. From here, so we are trying, I guess we're lucky, call it whatever you want. But we were applying for the wrong zone. We were trying to get an RV park, and again, we were never trying to do an RV park. We're trying to do a campground. It's a family-oriented type event. It's not a slum, so to speak. We're investing in this, and we're trying to make it something nice. We're from where we currently live in Clifton. We plan to move to Safford. We're moving our life this way. Safford is growing. Clifton, Morenci, Safford, Greenlee counties, Grandview, we're growing. This gentleman's trying to get more housing. There's no housing. We're not trying to be a housing solution. We're trying to be a spot where somebody could say, hey, it's winter in Michigan, I want to come down to Arizona and spend time here. It could be a guy that's working for the mine and say, hey, I got a job at the mine. I have nowhere to live, because that is the reality for everybody that comes down here. There's nowhere to live, and we're trying to be a solution to that. Again, not a permanent solution. This is not a RV park where there's going to be double wides pulled in, and it's campers are what we're looking for, not a miner, not a, so to speak, any label of person. Anybody that wishes to camp and have an RV, which is 10 years or newer, we would welcome you to come stay at our campground. If you're gonna stay in the tents, it's a campground, so it's not a, we don't want people living in tents, so to speak. There'd be 24/7 security. We got bylaws. We've passed out the bylaws that would go with it also. So there's bylaws, there's rules. It's not a free-for-all, so to speak, that we're trying to just have people coming and going. There's problems in the first go-around, major problems, and I agree, ADOT was a huge hurdle. And since then, we've spoken with ADOT, we've talked to them, and they have put it to us that if we are willing to repair the road, whether it be painting or whatever we must do, something has to be done. We obviously can't open a campground without the road being addressed right there. So we're working closely with ADOT. That's definitely on the list, but they're stating pretty much that it looks like, well, the email should be in here, so I'm not going to speak for them. Water. Yesterday I met with the Wortmans out of Ken Summit out in Wilcox. And yeah, they came out, they visited with us, they took simple city water, they got manifolds, they got systems that, it's an easy system to build up and get water to all days. With basic city water, it fills up these manifolds, and then as it fills them, then it stores it. It's a sealed storage system that it'll work, is what I'm being told. The traffic, so part of it, there's so many cars out there, and strategically being out there in the San Jose area, I believe would help out keeping the traffic out of Safford, so to speak. It could be, there's many benefits. So we have a 6-month stay. I heard concerns the last time there was concerns that people are gonna live here. Nobody's gonna live here. Again, there's 3 phases going in. Okay, there's a site plan right there. There's 3 phases though. We're not, this is gonna be built up in 3 separate phases. Steve mentioned that we had the wrong zoning the last time. Again, we're trying to get the correct zoning so we are able to do more things with our campground versus basic stuff. We don't allow drugs or alcohol. It's not a party place, so it's not drugs and alcohol friendly zone. And I think I'm gonna step out of the way and see if anybody has questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have a list of individuals who have requested to speak to this item. Diane Peterson.
I'm Diane Peterson. I'm representing myself and my fiance, Daniel Olson. We bought our home, and it is right where one of the openings is going to be. I am a foster parent, and I would like to know what safety concerns there will be for my children and the children that are placed with, that I do have in placement right now. There are laws with the foster care system saying that their biological parents are not to be around them, not to know their locations, and if there is a campground there, what is going to stop those parents from camping right next door to where these children should be feeling safety when they're being cared for? In addition to, I did speak to the heavily bearded man, I don't know what his name is, that's sitting right there, and I did ask him if there will be background checks on anybody that's gonna be coming and camping in a cabin or in a tent, and he said there was not gonna be background checks. These were gonna be people that were just passing through, and that they would be allowed to come in. Without having background checks on anything like that, I am strongly opposed to that. Not just for the welfare of my family, but for all the other people that are living out there. We have farms, beautiful farms, that have animals. What's potentially gonna happen to them? Not just the children, not just the elderly people that live out there. We also have the prison system that is out there. And what's gonna stop the people that are coming to visit those prisoners to being right there, that they're not going to come up or formulate some sort of plan for escape? I mean, there is a lot of safety issues as far as that's concerned. We do have heavy traffic through there. I would say that any of you who don't live out there, go out there between the hours of 3:30 in the morning and 5:30 in the morning. There are people passing each other. They don't care. There are people coming home. They don't care. They pass each other on that road, and it is so unsafe. It's bad enough that we have to deal with that, but how many people are gonna be camping and having places out there that are gonna be whizzing through there? We've already had to move our electric meters, our gas meters further back from the road just because of the traffic. And now this is gonna put so much more traffic right there. And again, my house is, it's gonna be like all alongside of my house and all behind my house and my neighbors' homes. And I strongly oppose it. I'd like to know what kind of safety issues you have. I'm at 6875. So I am like right here. Oh, okay. When I did talk to him, he did tell me that they're gonna put cabins up on the top. I don't understand cabins and tents. We don't have a lake there. We don't have, who wants to see the coyotes and the javelinas and the rattlesnakes that are there? I can guarantee you, there are several. I have seen 6 rattlesnakes in my backyard this year. That's without anybody excavating the dirt, without anybody moving anything around. It would not be a safe place, even for the people that are renting it. Thank you.
Kyle Wagner.
Hello, my name's Kyle Lackner. I live right there, and where the cursor is. A lot of good concerns that she brought up this time. The only thing that we changed this time is we put tents in it. That's the only thing that's changed, right? So there's a lot of safety concerns about it. The road, right? Everybody knows about the road. I'm representing my wife and 3.5 kids. So my kids drive 3/4 ton trucks, 1 tons, because of the safety traffic. If they get in a wreck, they're most likely to survive in a 1 ton or something like that versus a car. That's how serious the traffic is in that area. You're talking about putting cabins up on top. So there's a creek that runs through there, a little creek, right? So you're not gonna put a cabin there. The old timers put a dam at the bottom of that. I don't know why they did back in the day, but they did for a reason. You're gonna build a road to the top. So you're gonna have one heck of a scar going up all the way to that mountain to get to the top. That scar will be there forever. Our homes, all them homes around there are really nice homes across the street from mine. Really, really, nice homes in that area. The value will go down if you put tents in there or cabins or people overlooking you, right? Where they want to put them cabins, you can overlook that whole area. Nobody wants, granted, I'm from Klondike where we don't like neighbors, right? But nobody wants to be looking over them all the time, especially people in and out, right? It's an in and out burger is what all it is. The water situation, I don't know what you can't, I know water, I know pipelines and stuff. You're gonna pull water out of the pipeline that's already there. That's gonna reduce the water property of everybody. Sewer situation, you gotta be 100 feet from a canal. That's a canal right there. So that puts all them sewers right there in the middle. You're not gonna put a sewer on top of that ridge. That's solid rock. That's not gonna happen. There's just a lot of just what ifs, right? Yeah, it's a great idea to make some money, but on other people. 24/7 security. The hospital's the only one that's got 27 security around here. We can't even hire truck drivers at the mine for $25 an hour. You're not gonna hire security for $16 an hour. So it's just not a good idea for our valley, right? We do need homes, but this isn't homes for the miners, right? It's not homes for the contractors. It's turning into, we're going this way to get this way, and it's just not a good idea. And so I strongly disagree with this situation here, strongly, so.
Thank you. Bartoldos? Excellent.
Hi, my name is Manuel John Bertoldo. I'm the executor of the estate of my dad, Manuel M. Bertoldo, and he has 3 parcels. There's that little red building is a restaurant. commercial, and then where that little abutment was, where the other lady spoke, on the other side of there, we have a little 1 acre lot. So we're in favor. We want to get maximum use out of the land, and Joseph, I think, has a pretty good idea. For the commercial building lately, it has been vacant. The last few people who owned it were storing drilling cores. They're not there anymore. Previously, the building was a restaurant. So we think if the building was sold again as a restaurant, we had a few inquiries to run it as a restaurant, that it would benefit the area. It would also benefit his operation. And then the increased tax base for the county. Now, if you look just south of the lot, that's owned by Fortuna del Oro. They have a huge trailer park in Yuma. So eventually, they're going to want to do something with that. They have 140 acres. So you might want to consider that eventually they're going to want some sort of zoning ordinance too. So that's really all I have. Thank you.
Sorry, I know we're supposed to, but can you repeat that? I didn't get blood and all that.
It's owned by Fortuna del Oro. They're a company based out of Yuma. And in Yuma, they have a big RV park, 1,500 spaces. And one of the chairmen of it is Jesse Gomez.
So let's back up a minute.
Well,
they sold the trailer park in Yuma.
Oh, well, that's still in the company's name, so.
It's still in Freddie.
No, it's in Fortuna del Oro.
Well, it belongs.
Well,
They sold that trailer.
Just address the
Oh, okay.
commission.
All right.
And, no,
But it currently is titled to that company, that corporation, which does own, well, I didn't see online where they sold it. They're still an existing corporation. So there'd have to be some use up there. And the view up there, you know, for cabins, they're not looking at coyotes, they're looking at the valley. If you look through the valley, you see where people have built homes to look at the valley because it's a nice view. And that's what Joseph wants to take advantage of, is to have some cabins so people can go and enjoy the view, as well as having their RVs and, you know, any KOA has tent spaces. Any park you go to, Roper has tent spaces as well as for RVs. So it's a multi-use facility is what it would be, to cater to more than people on a temporary basis. Questions?
commission have any questions for Mr. McCoy?
How close is the sewer, and if sewer's not adequate, what's the proposal for waste?
I think Joseph can address that.
Sewer? What do you specifically asking?
Where are you in relocation to the sewer line, and if that's not adequate, what's the proposal for waste?
It has to be on a septic tank. There's not city sewer out there. So it'd have to be septic and talking with health, there's the spot, it wouldn't be even near canals. That's not, we definitely, wherever it goes, it's gonna go legally through the permit process. There's a process for it, so.
Okay, Mark Brawley.
My name is Mark Brawley. My father lives at 6600 East Highway 70, across the highway there. I was opposed to this prior to, but unfortunately I'm even more opposed to it now. Everything that's been spoken to are all key points. I think I'd like to highlight a couple of things. I would have liked to have seen a more detailed plan at this point. For those of people that live in the area, if you come from Renzi heading from east to west, you're transitioning from 65 miles an hour down to 55. Anybody that lives out there knows that doesn't happen for quite some period of time. Those leaving Safford, heading towards Morenci, right almost to the left side of your map, there's a first chance that they have an opportunity to pass from quite a ways back. So the speed increases there dramatically along that corridor. And unfortunately, and I'm not trying to be critical, but to say ADOT says something has to be done is not where we need to be at this point to be approving something, because that's a significant risk I'm not sure, I wished I would have looked it up, but since the last application and now, there's been a fatality right there because of the traffic issues. So I think that, you know, that we can talk about septic and not having the plans for that. We can talk about water, not having the plans for that, that we're still talking about that. There's just a lot of unknowns here. And then to expand it and widen it to the options that will be available for something, I don't think we're in a good spot. The other thing that I'd like to highlight is, in a situation like this, I think management and security is going to be key. And we all know, if you've been a business owner, that management and security depends upon your bottom line and how much you have to afford to do that. So when you start talking about campers and hikers and transient, I don't mean that in a negative homeless point of view, as in they are transient through the country and they're looking for places to go and walk. You're going to need to provide management and security, and I haven't heard any plan on that. So unfortunately, I'm even more opposed than I was before. Thanks.
Clay Gomez. Okay. Do you have questions of Mr. Kennedy? Yes, let's have Mr. Kennedy, if you kind of, we have some questions, and then you may be capable of addressing some of the concerns
Okay.
you raised.
Okay.
You said that it's going to be a type of a short term,
That's correct.
and a short term is somebody coming from Michigan and staying.
Snowbirds.
And how long would they be staying there? Would they leave their trailer there and come
No,
back?
in our bylaws, if they rented the spot for 6 months, they could do whatever they wanted, so to speak, within our legal bylaws. So if
They
they,
could stay for.
after 6 months,
You
they
don't
have to vacate.
Term limit on that.
They have to vacate.
It's really not like a KOA or anything.
I mean, I don't think it's like a KOA. We're trying to go for a campground, like, yeah, you know, it's not, you're not gonna have a mailbox there if that's what you're asking. You're not gonna live there. We're looking for campground. We're looking for like church groups to come and sing up on top of the mountain and look at the mountains and campfires. We're looking at, there's gonna be minors also. There's people that, but we're, in our bylaws, we're gonna have 10 years or older camper. I don't know if anybody's priced out a camper lately, but they're almost as much as a house. So a person buying a camper is not your average transient that they're speaking of in the.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I was just trying to, you know, where's the line between a campground and a trailer park? So that was kind of what I was trying to figure out from you. Also, you said something about the water coming, the Wilcox people being out there?
Yeah, so.
You haven't ended, the rest of us don't, or what?
No. So basically, they came out yesterday. The Wortman, I can't remember the name of his business. It slipped my head. Chris Wortman, he owns his business out there. They do wells. They handle wells all over Wilcox.
Putting in a well?
No, not necessarily, because we're looking at putting these manifolding systems in. I mean, again, it wouldn't be done without approval through zoning, but they're all legitimate. That's their solution.
They're just questions.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm trying.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not an inquisition. And I really understand your concern about transit, you know, people that's moving through, but I don't know if that's as much his responsibility, or I don't know who they have to report to when they come into a town. And that's something I think that needs to be looked into, you know, by you and by you.
Right. As a Christian, I'd help any transient, but as far as like housing transients, that's not the plan.
Asking them, have you got a background? I don't know. If
A driver's license would be.
do,
Yeah.
you know, but that's something you might want to look at. But
Okay.
those are just some of the things that I kind of got, and as being a commissioner and a mother and a grandmother, those are some of the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I've been out in that area quite a bit, and I'm kind of curious why you chose that area, because there's really not a whole lot of recreational, as you said, there's no water out there, there's no really good riding area, pretty well flat. up in that area. I was just kind of curious why you chose that area.
It was an answer to a prayer, to be honest with you. That was it. I prayed, and shortly thereafter, I happened to look left while I was driving down the road. I saw a for sale sign, and all the things fell into place from there. That was it.
Like I say, there's Roper Lake, and there's a lot of area.
Yeah, there's there's dunes back in there. I mean, it's not all right there, but it's you know, within driving distance. The dunes are there. BLM land, hunting. You got the river's not too far away. Well, I mean, it's far away. It's far enough away, but it's not like you know, it's close enough to say it's an attraction, I would say.
If you develop all 30 acres, how do you control the runoff? Is there laws on that big a space to control the water flow?
Yeah, it's, you know, honestly, I've never actually thought of that or heard on that, but I can definitely, like, that's runoff is definitely,
I'm just saying there's a lot that goes into one of these projects.
yeah, there would definitely be water. I mean, you can see where the erosion is.
We've approved some other RV parks that have never happened because of the septic tanks and what the ADEQ demands.
Yeah.
And then it becomes unaffordable. And those costs get caught up with the idea.
Right, well, in our, like, so we're not just making the slides, like, we've hired professional people that design RV parks, because.
Well, I'm not arguing,
Yeah,
that's a
so,
great
and as
picture,
far
but
as where the drainage would go.
I'm just looking at them, saying, where's the water gonna go
Yeah,
when it rains? You can't put it on your neighbor, right, Steve?
no, it's gonna drain wherever it drains, but it has to be drained properly. It has to be, you know, it has to be addressed, yeah, it needs drainage. And that's all part of the buildup of what we're doing.
So, Steve, a lot of this would be addressed through our engineering, right?
I don't know if I'm answering your question or answering my own, but normally, nobody is gonna spend the money it's gonna take for a traffic study and for an engineering study and a drainage plan and all the things that we will require of them, ADEQ will require of them, the health department will require. They will not venture to spend that money until they get the zoning, because they cannot spend $1.5 million getting all these answers and then get told no on the zoning. They have to get the zoning first, and that's why you hear it this way, and that's why those are all things that do get addressed by the planning department, by the engineering department, by the health department, by ADOT after the fact, and that's why, as Peter said, a lot of them get the zoning and never get built, and that might happen with this, but they can't spend the money to get all those studies done without the zoning. Does that make sense? I'm not advocating for or against, I'm just saying that's why it goes in this order. They ask for this first, and then they have to prove all the unproven. Did I answer your question?
Yes, well, you know, yeah, well, but my point being that the county has codes and ordinances that are going to address drainage.
Correct. He's going to have a drainage plan that's done by a professional engineer that says it will hold a 100-year storm, it will hold all the water, it won't get on the neighbors, all that.
And the septic part.
The septic part.
It's gonna qualify under.
Once he goes past about 36 to 40 RV spaces, he will be outside the realm of our health department, and he will have to deal with ADEQ, which is no fun, but that's where his septic system will get approved from, will be ADEQ.
And, you know, there's a lot of concerns. Security for the community, but there's no one checking who's renting houses in the community now, is there?
No.
As far as dealing with the children that are.
The comments on the foster child situation is, as I understand it, it's a violation of privacy, unless that's a known person to that next door neighbor or somebody going to be in the residence. I don't think that you can require much other than a driver's license for a short-term stay like that.
Something they'd have to take care of.
That's something that I'm not well versed in, but I have been told that that's a violation of privacy.
Does the commission have any other questions?
This didn't go through last time, and it's kind of the same problem last time. I just don't see zoning this for a more or less recreational area when it's a living area for homes. So I'm opposed to it.
Second that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to not accept it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion from the commission? All in favor of the motion, raise your hands. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. It still will go to the board at the next meeting with a unfavorable
All
recommendation.
three, tell the folks that are here when the next, all three of these items will be seen at the supervisors meeting on what date?
It will be the first Monday of next month, which is
Tuesday the 3rd.
8 a.m. Tuesday the 3rd. I'm sorry, it's not a Monday because it's a holiday.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have 6, 8, 9. I'm gonna read them off one by one. We'll have to move on them. We're gonna have 9 items to be set up for public hearing. We have to move on each one individually. We cannot take them as a whole. So I will read them off, then I'll be looking for a motion to set them up, a second, and then we'll vote quickly. That, yeah, they're all done. We're not. Okay, items to be set up for public hearing. CUP 24-01, APN 104-13-90, 40.44 acres. A request was made for a conditional use permit. The request was made by Morgan Broderick. Mr. Broderick is requesting for this parcel to have all the same rules and setbacks as CM zoning, since it is unusable as a residential property for the purpose of more climate-controlled self-storage units. Site address is west of Fertizona, next to existing self-storage south of Palmer Lane and Highway 70.
I make a motion, we set this up.
Second.
Can I just inject here real quick to make sure that you all understand before this will go to an agenda for next time, but just so that you understand that it's not a special use permit he's asking, or it is a special use permit he's asking for, not conditional use. And he's asking to redo the one we already did as conditional, turn it into special, and it'll all be special use, which will make it a saleable item rather than making the next owner come in and get a conditional use permit again. So it will be all under one use permit, because he still only has 0.6 something acres. He can't get the CM zoning on less than an acre. So it has to be done through a use permit, but he's asking for special instead of temporary or conditional. Right, that CUP will go away and the whole thing will get SUP on there.
Would you clarify the difference in a use permit and a special use permit?
Say that again?
Can clarify the difference between conditional and special use permits?
Conditional does not go with the sale of the property. It is under the ownership of the applicant, and if you sell the property, it goes away. So
I'm familiar with that one.
okay, the special use is more, it's more used on cemeteries, cell towers, things that don't get sold very often, but
As long as somebody's
they're
living
permanent.
there, it's there.
They're permanent and sellable, and so that's more what it's for. There's wording in the ordinance that says it's good for and wanted by the community, and I don't remember the exact wording, but it's just something that the public sees as a value.
Okay, so does that motion and second still stand?
Yes.
Following the clarification. Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So next week, or next month on that one, we will, so Steve and I were talking, probably the reason this isn't flying under CM is because it's too small of an area. We were trying to remember what the reasoning was back when we saw this. It wasn't terribly long ago, but that will draw that out, next month. Okay, our next item, REZ 905-24, APN 106-29-105, 4.33 acres. A request was made to rezone from AR to RM. The requester is Janet Alder. Ms. Alder would like to rezone from single family to multifamily for apartment complexes. Site address is east of Highway 191 with a portion of the parcel running along Camino de Casablanca.
This was sent to you once before and then pulled, and it's back. She got in a tiff with her brother and then decided she didn't care what he thought, so she's back.
I make the motion to move it forward.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. REZ, next item, REZ 907-24, APN 109-56-034, 10 acres. A request was made to rezone from A to M. The requester is Dara Pierce. Ms. Pierce would like to rezone to come into compliance as the property is being used. Site address is the end of Hancock Meadows Way, west of Pima, south of Klondike Road. This property is being used as a kennel.
This is a zoning violation correction. This lady asked the dog pound what you had to do to have a kennel, and they said nothing. And so she bought property and moved here from Duncan, and then we found her in New Mexico. Oh, okay. And then we found her and said, no, there are rules and you'll have to comply. So she's trying to comply.
I make a motion.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next item, REZ 908, or 908-24, APN 105-46-027B, 2.7 acres. A request was made to rezone from A to RE. The requester is Frank and Karen Fox. The Foxes request zoning change to allow them to operate a business at their location. Site address is south of Central Road and central west of Highway 70, east of Cemetery Road. This property is being used as a bed and breakfast and event venue.
And this is similar to what you heard from the Howards today on, we've asked them to get in compliance and they're trying.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Thank you. Next item, REZ 909-24, APN 105-51-028A, 2.8 acres. A request was made to rezone from A to CM. The requester is Ty Hatch. Mr. Hatch would like to move his construction operation to this location. Site address north of Safford Bryce Road, west of Bentley Drive.
Mr. Hatch bought this a while back, and I'm surprised he didn't rezone it earlier, but I guess he didn't know what he wanted to do with it. But as you can see from what's around it, it's pretty much a commercial neighborhood.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item, REZ 911-24, APN 105-31-009, 1.5 acres. The request was made to rezone from AR to RM. The requester is Jake McBiles. Mr. McBiles would like to allow for the addition of duplexes on the property. Site address is east of the dirt road, southwest of Safford Bryce Road.
This being about a mile from the Freeport turn in, that's probably the best use of property. It will be, it's on a well and it's got to be on septic, so that will be its limiting factors as to what can be put there. It won't be much.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Next item, REZ 912-24, APN 105-44-038, 1.5 acres. A request was made to rezone from A to AR 30,000 square feet. The requester is Larry Walters. Mr. Walters would like to rezone to make room for son. Mr. Walters is asking for 30,000 square foot minimum. Site address 5227 West Coombs Street, north of Central Road, east of Bigler Avenue.
Make a motion to forward.
Second.
You set it up?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Big moly.
We're gonna be busy.
Next month, I better go on vacation.
Next item is REZ 913-24, APN 105-44-001, 19 acres. A request was made to rezone from A to RM. The requester is Matt Sherwood. Mr. Sherwood would like to build multiple multifamily homes. Site address, a split on this land has been approved and has not yet been given a new parcel number. This rezone only speaks to the 2.9 acres north of the canal, south of Norton Road, east of Clough Avenue.
So we're only talking about that piece of this larger parcel.
No, more neighbors. I make a motion to move forward with it.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. REZ, next item, REZ 914-24, APN 106-28-083 and 106-28-082, 106-28-084, 7.6 acres, 7.5 acres, and 12.2 acres respectively. A request was made to rezone from SD to AR-3. The requester is Vladimir Illick, okay, with power of attorneys for other landowners. Mr. Illick would like to be able to pull permits and develop this land with 3-acre minimums. Site address east of Stockton Road, Sonoran Skies Road runs south past these parcels.
You heard this previously with 2-acre minimums and it failed to pass the board, and he's back with a 3-acre minimum.
Make a motion to hear it.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you. After we close, I'd like a quick word with the commission, but not on public record. So Steve, go ahead. With, is there other business?
I'd like to, although Mark already told you guys, I'd like to welcome Jason Stearns to the commission. Clay Mack has stuck him in there not to replace Gene Robert, but to fill the hole, fill a part of the hole left by Gene Robert. He will, he brings a lot to this commission. He knows a lot. Give him a little time and he'll be running this place, but also approved Russ Verstig. Let's see, that's not something you guys care whether this road was approved. Road name request, rezone, 17 acres and 40 acres for Alan Matthews did pass the board last time, and so he is no longer a violator.
He even has more room now.
He has,
Yeah.
yeah, he's legit now and he needs to buy a house, so.
Bubble home.
Helicopter.
And I don't know of it if I have anything else.
So that's okay, very good. Meeting adjourned then. So, real briefly, commission, you've got, most of you have been on here for quite a while, you've seen a few rodeos. People own property, they want to develop their properties. I'm not ever gonna tell you how to vote. You'll sometimes maybe sense that I'm, as chairman, you may